So, photography is truth, and cinema is truth 24 frames a second, so said Jean-Luc Godard. However, Brian De Palma said the camera lies all the time. It lies at 24 frames a second. So, who's right? After 11 years of research, I've concluded that the truth can exist in single pictures and at 24 frames per second. But when you start messing with the time given to each picture, you can make the brain lie to itself no matter what the eyes are telling it. Let me give you an example. This is a piece of art called Dropping Milk by William Wegman. 3 photos, completely untouched and unmanipulated. They appear to show a miraculous trick whereby a man drops a full glass of milk without spilling any or breaking the glass. We read from left to right, but if you are a Hebrew or Arabic speaker, it may look like a man lifting a glass of milk into his hand by some sort of telekinesis. Both these actions are impossible, but by shuffling the order in which the photos are taken, and not including a picture of spilt milk and broken glass on the floor, these 3 frames are truthfully captured by camera, relayed accurately to our brains through our eyes, and our brains then come up with a completely false story of what's going on. The key word here is story. A picture is a moment frozen in time. A sequence of pictures along a timeline prompt the brain to fill in the blanks and construct a story using a process called perceptual filling in. In full motion film, we don't notice the black spaces between the frames of film, and this allows us to perceive motion. But when the frame rate is slowed down, our brains have time to study each image and fill in the action between each one. In this way, the photo montage, also known as the cine-roman picture story, or as I like to call it, low frame rate Photoshop radio play, requires a different type of attention than a regular motion picture. The effect may be disconcerting at first, but given a continuous audio soundtrack, the brain quickly adapts and begins not just to watch, but to read the film in a similar way to how we read a comic book. See here. One of the most renowned films to use the photo montage was Chris Marker's 1966 film La Jetée, in which a man is sent back in time from a post-apocalyptic Paris in order to prevent the apocalypse from happening. It was later remade as 12 Monkeys. The photo montage was also employed as a key element in Antonioni's Blow Up, in which a photographer captures a series of photos that he later discovers tell the story of a murder. And more recently, the format was used in the end credits to the film The Hangover. In fact, sequences of pictures arranged consecutively to tell a story have been around since the days of cave paintings. There followed Egyptian temple wall carvings, medieval tapestries, comic books, movie storyboards. Everywhere one looks, one can find examples at work. I myself fell into this genre by accident and stayed there by necessity. Through family and social reasons, I found myself visiting Vienna a couple of times a year, where my friend Peter Waldeck lived. He was planning a film show and wanted to collaborate on something, but through an accident of bad planning and lost luggage, all we had was a digital stills camera and a single afternoon. So we improvised a story about 2 characters, Jim and Heinz, who get into trouble when Heinz buys a demon mask at great expense, and Jim puts it on his head, and it won't come off. The demon mask went down well with audiences, despite all the dialogue being recorded on a mini-disc using a pair of headphones instead of a microphone, and by my simulating the sound of speaking inside a mask by sticking my head in a bucket. Over the years, we made 14 more Jim and Heinz films, and although the equipment improved, we stuck to the same photo montage method, because 1, it was extremely fast to shoot in this way, and our time together was limited. 2, as neither of us were particularly good actors, we could record the dialogue separately and chop up and remix our performances in the edit, thus keeping the good bits and removing ums, ers, and messed up lines. With the dialogue placed over still images, there were never any lip-syncing issues, of course. And 3, special effects are much easier to apply to still images in Photoshop than to realistically render on video. Luckily, we had the help of Paul Elliott, a talented artist who joined the team and expanded the Jim and Heinz universe into the realms of the impossible. So the films involved into a strange hybrid of photography, graphic art, animation, sound design, improv comedy, and hours of editing. Today you're about to be subject to the longest run of Jim and Heinz films ever shown to a live audience. I hope your brains can take all the lies. And if you enjoyed the films, a DVD containing some of the films shown tonight, plus some we didn't have time for, will be available for sale after the show, price $10. Enjoy the show.